Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Guest House, sweet home for patients and families here in Chicago. My name is Art Sims. I am the Community Outreach Manager and Assistant House Manager at Guest House. And joining me tonight to my left is my colleague, the one and only Miss Dionne Nicole Smith, Director of Development for Guest House. We want to wish each and every one of you a happy Women's History Month. And in honor of the occasion, tonight we're talking to an amazing young lady who is sitting to my immediate left, the one and only Miss Patricia Soto. Yay! Happy Women's History Month.
Thank you.
Patricia, you are the mom of one of our team members, our house manager, Miss Gabby Aceto. And I want to talk a little bit about your journey before I let you share your journey. In 2017, you were diagnosed with end-stage kidney failure. You received a transplant on January 2nd of 2022, thanks to our good friends at Gift of Hope. Patricia, it is so an honor to have you not only here for Women's History Month, but just to have you here alive, You're celebrating a birthday this coming Sunday. And we just thank God that you are a walking miracle. Welcome to the show, please share your experience with us.
Sure, Art. Thank you for having me today. So like Art said, I was diagnosed with end-stage kidney failure in the year 2017. And it wasn't really good news to hear. You know, it's like all these things go through your head and, you know, like, this is the end for me. You know, what are the next steps? Of course, it was hard for me and my family. And my family was like, okay, who's going to be the donor? Unfortunately, none of my family could be the donor because they were all too old. They were older in age. But I was okay. I said, you know, if God wants, I will get a kidney. So I got on the wait list, as many wait lists as I can. I even went to Wisconsin, and my family was right there with me. Wisconsin, they do have a faster program, but I needed to stay in Illinois because that's where my family is. So one of the things that I needed to do was start dialysis. And I was very hesitant in starting dialysis because my doctor, Dr. Radosa from UI Health, he recommended it, and I refused because I heard so many bad things about it, but I desperately needed it. So I started dialysis in 2018, and it was scary at first, but I was treated with such loving, kind people at UI Health. I continued my journey. I met all kinds of people, all kinds of patients who were in the same boat as I was, you know, and some of them had more health problems. I would say, 2021, December, I have to say I was like at the end of my rope. I looked at my mother, and I had already come to terms that maybe my life was going to end. And I told my mother that I was tired. I was tired of doing dialysis. I had coded 2 times during my treatments, and I was tired. And she just asked me, please give it one more day. And I said, okay. So the next day I go to work, and I receive a phone call from the UI healthcare coordinator. And his name was George. And in any Hispanic family, you believe in signs. His name was George, and he told me that it was my turn to receive a kidney. You can ask questions, but you're only limited to a few questions that they can answer. So I asked him, is it a live kidney or is it a cadaver? He said it was a cadaver. He didn't know much history on it, but he told me that it was from California, another sign. And I asked him about how come there wasn't any history. And it so happened that my cadaver was from an incarcerated inmate. in California.
Oh, wow.
And with that being said, just to not to cut you off, Tricia, but can you imagine someone who's incarcerated and you end up being the recipient of their kidney, but yet, what a blessing. What did you feel about that? Was there any remorse? Was there, what did you think about receiving the kidney of someone who had been incarcerated?
You hear so many stories and you hear the lives and you see the movies that they live or supposedly live in while they're incarcerated, and you're like, how can you accept a donor? And that's exactly like that. I had like a one-way thinking process, and I didn't judge it at first, but I really didn't judge it at all. But I said, whoever my donor was such an individual that he was able to keep his body clean and to be a donor. And not to mention that his family kept his wishes or her wishes, that they were going to be a donor. So I asked him what the next steps were and if I had time to consult with my doctor because I needed to talk to him. And they told me, in other words, no, you have to make the decision. So I made the decision by myself, and I talked to my doctor after, and he goes, well, okay, we'll be fine. They tested the kidney up until Saturday night. Saturday night, it was... They kept testing and testing and testing over, and the hospital, UI Health, they walked me through every step of the process. Even that morning, when it arrived here in Chicago during a snowstorm,
Wow.
during a snowstorm, they still tested the kidney. Sunday came. The thing, I received my kidney during COVID, and the thing about it was, I'm walking through these doors alone, without my daughter, without my mother, without my aunt. And they looked at me and they're like, we love you. I go, believe me, I've done this many times. I go, I will be okay. So immediately you feel like a movie star because you walk through the emergency room and they're like, we know why you're here. So they took me upstairs. They started prepping me. And I remember is in the operating room, I hear the music playing, I hear the physicians getting ready, I hear them, they want to make sure you have the right patient, they check the date of birth, they check what they're doing, and okay, they're telling me to count back from 10 to 9, and they thought I was asleep, and they're like, is she out? I go, no, I'm not out yet. And they're like, okay, give her some more. So after that, I was out.
That sounds like me. I'm like that. You need to give me a lot to knock me out, so I'm just like you.
Yeah.
Well, in honor of Women's History Month, I applaud both of them because as soon as they stick the needle in, I'm out. So ladies, really, your tenacity, Patricia, is just incredible. Once the surgery was completed, what was your recovery time like? And then, was your daughter has always been a part of the guest house family, but what was the connection? Because you did convalesce with us for a while, correct?
Yes, we did come and stayed with the guest house for a short period of time. And this was before my transplant. And she had a big part in, I never knew the guest house existed until she went and applied and got the job, and it's such a beautiful place. It's like home away from home. Yes. Everybody cares about everybody. It's a small community within the little city. And not to be biased, but I love the guest house. If you need care within the Illinois Medical District, guest house is the place to stay. You have great people. You have organizations who are, who give their time, who come and bake and spend time and talk to the patients. And I've met so many wonderful people.
Director, if we could, I would love to show some of the pictures of just Patricia's journey of how far she has come, ladies and gentlemen. She is one of many stories that we have at Guest House. In 2022, Guest House served 90 transplant patients, which means over 2,606, what a tongue twister, nights of caring for people. In just a moment, we'll see the pictures of just how far she has come with her journey. Dionne, when you hear stories like this, and you being the director of development, these are the type of stories that people just wouldn't believe. The testimony that we've heard here, the snowstorm, the incarcerated donor, what does this say to you, especially with this being Women's History Month, just about tenacity?
Well, I think that's the beauty of the Guest House, the fact that it was founded by a woman who was tenacious enough to come up with an idea while she was working at Rush. She was just an employee at Rush, our wonderful founder, Jane Wright, and she had an idea to come up with this beautiful organization. When someone came into the Chicagoland area from out of the country and needed somewhere to stay, she thought, why don't we have something that's close by that can help people in need? And you never think about temporary lodging when you think about healthcare equity. That's never anything people talk about. We need to change the narrative on that, everyone who's watching. We need everybody to start thinking about how can we give to those who may need this support system that will truly aid their process of healing, because it's a process. She knows we all have had our own connection to challenging health difficulties. Artist has his. I currently, unfortunately, am going through one myself. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in October, and I had a lumpectomy in December. And I'm going through radiation as we speak. So just imagine if I wasn't connected to the Guest House. I mean, think about it. Although I may not need the support as other people do, just think of that resource. I am so grateful to know that an entity like this exists when I hear the stories of people that I meet on a regular daily basis who they come to Chicago to get treatment from the top hospitals, some of the top hospitals in this country, and are not able to afford a hotel room down the street.
No.
They're sleeping in their cars. I'm honest with you on this. We have had former guests who have said that they were sleeping in their cars before they found out about our organization and the work that we do. So every day it blows my mind, and I am so honored during Women's History Month that we can celebrate all of the women that are connected and have made an impact on the life and the history of the Guest House. And it continues on a daily basis. We have a wonderful team. Obviously, Art is a part of our wonderful team. But we have a wonderful team that was started by a woman.
That's right.
It was started by a woman. She came up with the idea. So as we continue to go along, and Art will tell you a little bit more, but this is our 25th year, everybody.
Yes.
And we're celebrating that all year long. And so we want you all to consider thinking about supporting us, thinking about wanting to reach out and do something with us, whether it's volunteer work, whether it's being a part of what's coming up soon, and he'll mention that at the end of the show. But
absolutely,
we have so many wonderful stories like Trisha, and that's what we call her. Her name's Patricia, but we call her Trisha.
Being news anchor.
I know
Patricia.
He was being
Patricia,
so lovely, but she's part of our family, so you know.
She is.
We have so many amazing stories that we can literally share with you, and we hope to continue to do that every month.
Patricia, I wanted to circle back if I could. I know it's a slow journey of recovery after one has had a transplant, and a transplant like yours, final stages. But now you're giving back, you're doing things, you're actually participating in walks in honor of kidney awareness. Can you talk about some of the things that you're doing now, besides being fabulous sitting here next to me? What are some of the other amazing things that you are doing to just celebrate the new you?
Well, I returned back to work.
That's the biggest thing.
Right.
Yes.
I'm trying to embrace life as progressively as I can. I do have some days that are better than most. I always go somewhere with my mother or my daughter just because, or friends that are closest to me that I know if anything happens to me, they know my history, they know my health history. And because sometimes it's rough. It's rough. And I can't speak for all transplant patients, but it is still a work in progress. But this year I'm finally getting out. I take walks by myself. I walk to and from work, yes. And I do my volunteering with the guest house. I volunteer dinners for my birthday. I volunteers for special Hispanic holidays. This year, I will be celebrating Easter with my extended guest house family. And there's just more to come, you know. There's just more to come. But I'm looking forward to the future.
How's your energy been since the transplant? You know, we always look at you and you look like a picture of health,
Sure
but
do.
people just don't realize, you know, that it takes a lot to look well after that. So how have you been maintaining your energy? I'm so happy to hear that you're walking to and from work. And so what do you do to make yourself feel special?
I do a lot of, I walk. I'm just taking it from day to day. Even though there are days that I don't feel like walking, I'm like, you know what? You have to get up and walk. My main energy is focused on my dog, my Chuck. My Chuck he's like my little ride or die. He was there when I would come home from dialysis. He was there when I would come home from the hospital. You know, before dialysis, before transplant, I was in and out of the hospital. And Gabby made a joke like, one more stay at UI Health, the next one's free. And I'm like, that's how many times I was in the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
But he's been there, you know, he's the one that motivates me, Art. When I'm there, he's like, okay, Mom, now it's time for us to go for a walk. And as much as I don't want to take him, I take him. You know, rain, snow, you know, or sleet. If it's really bad, then I don't take him. But he's my little energy man.
I love that.
Wow.
Let me ask this. Do you get, because you were already a volunteer at the guest house before anything happened, do you get motivated by the other guests that you meet at the guest house?
I
And
do.
inspired by their stories?
I do. Recently, I came and visited, it was a dinner, and I was talking to the patients, and one patient was waiting for a lung transplant, and he received it, and I'm so happy. And then there was another patient, and his loved one needed I think a triple transplant. Unfortunately, she passed. But he looked at me and he said, so it does happen. And you know what? I am here to tell you it does happen.
Yes,
You just need to be patient for all those who are going through dialysis. It's long. It's hard. You know, it takes a toll on your health. Yes, it does. But it will happen.
Absolutely.
It will happen.
That's
That is so
positive.
beautiful.
It's so positive.
Yes.
At Guest House, we celebrate the victory of women each and every day. Just this past Friday was International Women's Day. We celebrate women during the month of March. We want to give a special shout out to all of the women who help us at Guest House to make it work. Not only our amazing guest and volunteer, Dionne, but we also want to mention Joni, Jan, Nicole, Tiffany, Gabby, and of course Jane, our founder. It's just amazing to have such incredible women who are making things happen each and every day. And as one of the male staff members, we just go, yes, what can we do? How can we make it happen? And that's the way it all works. We want to invite you guys also to follow us on all of our social media pages: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, The Guest House Chicago. We would love to have your support any way possible. Dionne, is there anything else you want to say before we close out this amazing interview?
I do. As I teased earlier, we have a 25th anniversary gala coming up next month, Monday, April 15th. So we want you to celebrate Tax Day with us and support us by coming to our 25th anniversary gala, The House Always Wins 2024, which will be at Carnival Restaurant. And for those who know Carnival, you know it will be a good time. Latin-themed cuisine. It will be, make your own mojito bar. We'll have some fun. We'll have a magician walking around. We'll have some fun games and raffle. But what's even better is we have a couple of celebrity guests. We have the return of WBBM News Radio midday anchor, Lisa Fielding, who will be our MC, along with yours truly over there, Mr. Art Sims. And then we have a surprise celebrity guest. Some of you will probably know who I will be speaking about in 2 seconds. A wonderful actor, screenwriter, producer, Tim Kazurinsky, who was on SNL, who was in all the Police Academy movies, and who also co-wrote the fabulous film About Last Night. So he is actually going to be a guest. And so if you want to come and support that and meet him, feel free to go to www.guesthousechicago.org, and you can find all the information out about how you can support, purchase tickets, sponsor, things like that if you want to come and join us, because we would love to see you.
We would be honored to have you in our presence. And if you ever are in need of guest house, we are a referral-based lodging facility, temporary lodging facility. We are connected with some of the top hospitals here in Chicago, ones that are right here within the medical district. You can always find out more information about how you can actually stay with us at guesthousechicago.org, or you can call our main number at 312-996-1167. Again, that's 312-996-1167. And we are always looking for amazing volunteers in the Chicagoland area. You might want to do breakfast bags. You might want to prepare a meal or actually cater a meal. Whatever you'd like to do, we would love to meet you at Guest House, and you become a part of our family as well, too. We're a very embracing, encompassing family, and we do what we can to make sure our guests have the best experience when they are staying with us at Guest House.
And one thing that I love to mention, because you just mentioned it, volunteers can come from anywhere. We have people that travel miles to come volunteer a couple of times a year. Believe me, it does not matter where you live. If you are in this area, we have a former guest who comes all the way from the Rockford area a couple of times a year. And this is someone who is still undergoing treatment for her cancer of the mouth. She's still undergoing treatment, but she still comes to volunteer, and it blows me away every time I see her face, because talk about commitment, talk about tenacity, talk about just a heart of gold. And she brings us, she cooks, she bakes, she brings us cookies, she brings us muffins, because she always wants to give back based on how she felt and the kindness and the generosity that she received at the guest house. She always wants to give back.
Absolutely. Patricia, before we leave tonight, I would love for you to give the audience words of encouragement. You've just done a beautiful interview. But is there anything in closing you really want to say?
If you're a transplant patient, don't give up. It will get better. One thing that you need to keep in mind is keep strong. If you're active now, stay active, because when you do receive that transplant, it's going to help you get on your feet faster. I speak this from experience. I went in working. I got the call on Friday. I continued to work. My family was like, you need to come home. It's 5:30. And I told them I'm not done yet. I still have a few things to do. I was up and working at 4 weeks. And you usually know that a surgery, any type of major surgery that way, takes 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes 6 to 12 weeks. But I was up ready to go in 4 weeks.
Beautiful.
So you just need to stay strong.
Amazing.
It will happen.
Yes, it will. And
Amazing.
we are so grateful for our partnership with Gift of Hope Organ and Tissue Donor Network, who allowed Tricia to be able to stand and sit here with us today. Thank you, Gift of Hope.
Thank you, Gift of Hope.
Thank you so much. Ladies, I want to wish you a wonderful Women's History Month. Thank you both for being here with us tonight. We'll be back next month with another amazing show, The Guest House Show. Don't forget, you can always follow us at guesthousechicago.org. Again, that's guesthousechicago.org. Or if you'd like more information, you can call 312-996-1167. On behalf of Dionne Nicole Smith, the one and only Miss Patricia Soto, and yours truly, Art Sims, thank you so very much for watching. Have a beautiful evening, and we'll see you again next month on The Guest House Show. Good night.